if you do them consistently, week after week, month after month, I promise you will see a significant change in your testosterone level. Hey guys, Mark McKillier here with Live Anabolic. Today I want to talk to you about testosterone. Imagine that. Guys, I just turned 60 last week, and so take it from me. You want to know every little tip and trick in the book to help keep your testosterone levels as high as you can naturally. So I got 5 quick tips for you today. They're not really very difficult to do. So guys, if you've seen some of my other videos where I talk about testosterone, you're going to kind of know already, why it's important. But if you're relatively new and haven't seen some of those, I want to kind of make sure that everybody watching understands that testosterone is important for a lot of different reasons. So guys, when we were young, remember how you could just eat pretty much anything and not put on weight? All right. Remember how much higher your sex drive was when you were back in your 20s? Well, those are related to testosterone. And it's not just getting older that screws everything up, but your body just naturally produces less testosterone. Once you hit about the age of 30, you peak out, and then it's a slow decline year after year after year. Now, the rate of that decline is something that we can control. And I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to lessen that decline over age. All right, so it's still going to drop, but guys, it doesn't have to plummet. Lots of other things that high T levels do for us, and it's you got higher sex drive, you have better focus, you have more energy, just lots of other things. So guys, knowing simple things to do and simple things to avoid as we get older really helps with our body's natural production of testosterone, because if you're like me, everything just doesn't work like it used to, all right? And I'm trying to figure out every little thing I can to make myself feel and perform like I did 30 years ago. All right, the very first tip is my favorite and the one I talk about all the time, and that is you have to lift weights. Resistance training is critical, guys. And matter of fact, a lot of you guys might not understand this, but I really believe that lifting weights is more important as we age versus when we were young. All right, so exercise is important, but not just any exercise. So a lot of you guys are really into the cardio, okay? When I say cardio, I'm talking about the long distance, steady state, kind of boring cardio. And I don't care whether it's jogging or riding a bike. Very few of you guys swim long distances, but that steady state cardio is fine to a point. But if you do too much of it, you actually start putting stress on your body. Even though you're not out of breath, even though you're not feeling that lactic acid burn of a weightlifting session, you're adding stress. That stress creates cortisol. Cortisol levels actually lower your testosterone production. So we see it all the time, even in young guys that are serious competitors in these long distance, type stuff, whether it's marathons or long bike rides, 100 miles, that kind of thing. Their testosterone levels will actually plummet, all right, even though they're in their 20s. And that is not a good thing, guys. So weight training, resistance training is super, super important. All right, so I'm not going to get into all the different exercises that you need to do today. That's not the focus of this video, but trust me, guys, lifting weights is important. You need to find a plan that stresses weightlifting and stick with it. All right, number 2 is we need to avoid endocrine system disruptors. So your endocrine system is, basically all of your hormones, all right? And so there's certain things, and especially over the last 30, 40 years, we've just got tons of chemicals that are in everything, all right? And I'm not terrified of chemicals, all right? But still, they're just everywhere you look. So they're in shampoos, in body wash, toothpaste, all kinds of things that screw with our endocrine system, and that can actually hurt our body's just natural ability to produce testosterone. And so real quick, guys, just give this a try. I started doing this a few months ago, and I think it's worth your effort. Just check it out. And that is a really interesting new product out, and it's a toothpaste that has none of those chemicals in there that are in all the other toothpastes that can potentially screw up your testosterone production. And it's called Legendary Men's Care. It's surprisingly tasty. When I first tried it out, I thought, oh my God, this is gonna be horrible, okay? And I was blown away by how good this stuff tastes. So give it a shot, all right? It is one of those things that, you know, it does everything that all these chemical infused toothpastes do that you see on the store shelves, you know, at your local supermarket, but it doesn't have all those crazy chemicals in there that can screw up your body's testosterone production. So click the link below, just give it a try, give it a shot. You don't need to buy 20 tubes, all right? Just buy the bare minimum. And if you use the code Anabolic10, you'll get another 10% off. So that's all I have to say about that. There's tons of things, you know, all these other shampoos and body washes and things that we should probably be avoiding. But as far as I know, there's nothing out there that doesn't have the chemicals in there. I do know about this toothpaste, and that's why I'm recommending it. All right, the third one, guys, is sleep. Did you know that the vast majority of your testosterone production occurs at night when you're sleeping? I didn't know that until just a few years ago. So guys, that's when so many good things happen to our body, is when we're sleeping. So you're obviously repairing your body, all right? And I'm talking about repairing those damaged muscle fibers that you created during the day when you were hitting that workout really hard. All right, so there's all that kind of repair that goes on from a physical point, but also there's a ton of hormonal good news happening at night when you sleep. So if you're not getting enough sleep, or you're getting really poor sleep, then you're not getting the maximum potential, okay, of your body's testosterone production. So really try to do whatever you can to increase your sleep. Now, I have other videos that you need to find on this channel where I talk about tips and tricks on how to improve your sleep. So guys, sleep is way more important than you would normally think. So it's a deal where you can't just, you know, get good sleep 2 or 3 nights a week. It needs to be more consistent. And I know it's easier said than done, all right? But guys, figure out a way to get better sleep. And the best way to figure that out is to search for some of those sleep-related videos that Gary and I have shot on this channel. Okay, so the fourth tip on how to naturally increase or boost your testosterone level is nutrition. So once again, this video is not about getting into the details of these 5 tips, but it is just to kind of mention them from a high-level perspective. And so guys, when it comes to nutrition, it's really important to try to eat as many whole foods as possible and avoid the processed foods. So for those of you who don't really know what that means, because those are terms that are thrown around all the time, and I used to not know what the heck they were talking about. I pretended like I did. But guys, whole foods are anything basically that come from nature that way when you eat them. They look the same when you're putting them in your mouth as they did when they came from nature. And processed foods don't look anything like they came from nature. So what does that mean? Well, bread, you don't pick loaves of bread off a tree, right? It doesn't look like nature created that. Man created bread, so that's a processed food. Crackers, all kinds of, you know, sugary things. I mean, basically anything that you couldn't go pick off a tree or pull out of the ground or off a bush or something like that is processed. So avoid those. And then, of course, while you're avoiding the processed foods, you also need to make sure you don't go on any kind of a crazy nutritional diet that cuts out too much fat. That was a big fad just a few years ago, these low-fat diets, okay? Man, that is really bad for men, especially, because you need a healthy amount of the good fats on a daily basis for your body to be able to produce testosterone in the first place. So if you don't have enough healthy fat, if you don't get enough protein in your diet, and then complex carbs, okay, those are the natural whole food carbs like potatoes and rice and vegetables. You get a good mixture of those, guys, I promise you will maximize your body's ability to produce testosterone, even if it's lower than it was 30, 40 years ago. Okay, so the fifth and last tip today is fasting. All right, so this is really surprising. You can actually get on Google and just type this in. Type in fasting testosterone production or something like that. There are lots of studies that talk about how good fasting is for our body's ability to produce testosterone. And I don't even know all the details, the low level, details, endocrine system details, but your body surprisingly responds really well to fasting. Now, some guys like to do a full 24-hour day fast. That would kill me, all right? But most of you guys have heard of intermittent fasting. And that is fasting where you just pick a certain percentage of the day and don't eat anything that has any calories in it. So pretty much you're stuck with water and coffee and things like that have basically 0 calories. The most successful way people do it is they typically fast for 16 hours and then they eat in an 8-hour window, which is really a pretty big window. And 16 hours seems like a long time, but if you do it at night when you're sleeping, it's really not hard. So a lot of guys, they'll eat food between noon and 8 p.m. at night, all right? And they'll fast from 8 p.m. at night until noon the next day. And for a lot of guys, that's super simple to do. And not only does it help you with losing fat, but it also helps with increasing your testosterone. So guys, 5 really straightforward, super simple ways. I didn't get into all the details of each of the 5 tips. Matter of fact, just look for other videos on this channel, all right, that'll delve into all the little finer points. But if you stick with all these little suggestions and tips and do it on a consistent basis, I promise you will see fantastic results and you'll actually be able to feel your testosterone levels increase over a period of weeks and months.